Minasan konnichiwa, Dedra desu. Hello everybody, my name is Dedra and welcome to DedraSensei. I love Japan and love to talk about Japan, so if you want to listen, then go ahead and hit subscribe. So, today is a story time. As the title suggests, I almost got hired at Universal Studios Japan. So yeah, didn't know that, did ya? Definitely one of the major accomplishments of my life as a performer, and I would love to share with you to give you some motivation and so that you can learn a little bit about me. So how did I even get connected with this opportunity? I was Ms. Black USA 2024, and my director at the time was living in Los Angeles, and being that Los Angeles is a big hub for show business, she knew about a worldwide audition for Universal Studios in their various parks. So I thought, why not? Anyone who knows me knows I'm down to try something at least one time. And I thought, why not? First is application. I was on their website and I saw that they were hiring for various different locations. I applied for the USJ, which is Universal Studios Japan, and Universal Beijing. There were also different kinds of jobs. There were dancers, singers, and actors. Dancers who could sing, dancers who could act. Then there were singers who could dance, singers who could act, and then actors who could dance, and actors who could sing. And I know this is a lot of different mixes, but essentially they specialize based on each person what different components you have to include in your application. For me, after the application, I had to submit my dance entry and my singing entry because I was auditioning as an actor who could sing, but dancing is required for all of them. So there's a few technicalities. So I had applied for actor who can sing. Like the song portion was very princessy, very want song. If you're familiar with musical theater, it was giving I Want song. It was a song about escape. It was a song about becoming something. And it wasn't a song that's licensed or out on the radio today. It was almost like a demo song that they saved strictly for auditions. But, you know, I pulled out my little musical theater ingenue archetype and I did what I had to do. I flipped the scarf like so, and it was a wrap. It was a great song performance that I did. So that I knew was solid. And then as far as dancing, you could choose what level of dance you wanted to do. So I chose, I think there was 3 levels. I chose the medium level, which the choreo was choreoing, you know, the choreography was, you know, you had to have some endurance. And it was this song, it's like, I wanna dance, I wanna dance, I wanna dance with you. It was like, it was very upbeat. The dancing song was very upbeat. It was high tempo, high energy, loud, lots of trumpets, you know, it was very energizing. And I could envision, you know, at a park, that being the last dance number that all of the different actors come together and do. It was giving that. So I had done that. I found a space in my apartment complex because I was living in my apartments at the time. I'm in my first home right now, but back then I was still renting. And I had found like a little corner that was well lit and had good sound, like good resonance and a reverb. And I did my dance audition and I was exhausted and I was so strategic. I was like, what hair am I gonna wear for this? And just FYI, curly hair dances perfectly. So I was like, I'm gonna make sure my hair is curly so that like when I flip and like do things, like my ringlets can shake. And I was so stealthy with it. You'd be so proud. But I did that dance audition and it was great, actually. It was another really solid one. I felt good. And that was the whole point, was to put my best foot forward. And you know what, if I was gonna do this, how would I do it? And as you might guess, I passed both of those. So with that, round 3 was the live voiceover and interview. So this was like the boss level. Essentially, I was to meet with a panel of judges on a designated day, and they'll work with you. to have, it was about 30 minutes worth of an interview, and they, based on a character that they give you, which I received a witch, I think, like a sorceress. Japanese wasn't required, but I knew, and if you can speak Japanese or whatever language, go for it, because I was practicing my Japanese a lot, and I ended up speaking Japanese in the interview because they were asking if I knew Japanese, which I was like, mochiron, which means of course. It was nice. I'd say just be yourself. That was my main point. You know, as a pageant queen, I always do really well when I'm like really authentic and down to earth, and I just don't think too hard about sounding right, but just trying to sound real and trying to sound honest while still being polished. And that's how I showed up in the interview. And it really worked out, because afterwards, I mean, you know, when you're like smiling and you're making the judges laugh, I'm like, oh, they're eating this up. They're eating it up. And they were, and I was so glad to feed them. I played the waiting game. Essentially through passing all three, which they let me know that I was approved. So that was great. Then they started asking me for my passport information and for more information. So essentially the next step would have been the onboarding process. The requirement to work at Universal Studios Japan is to commit to a 14-month contract. So those of you who don't know, 14 months is like a year and 2 months. That's actually a pretty sizable contract, which makes sense. It makes sense for a season, because most seasons run for a year. But realistically, as someone who had just bought a home, and someone who had just gotten married, and someone who had like essentially so many binding contracts here in the States, it didn't really make sense for me to leave and live in Japan again under those pretenses. And I know there's someone in the audience who's like, Dedra, no! Because they want me to live in Japan again really bad. But I had to be very honest with myself. Did I make the right choice? Did I make the right choice? That's the question of life. You'll be asking yourself that for the rest of your life. And it's one of those qualities of life of wondering, was that the right thing to do? And sometimes I ponder, like, should I have? But I ultimately decided not to, because I knew that I wasn't in a position where that would be realistic for me. This isn't to say that I'll never go. Those of you who know that I'm traveling to Japan in the spring. I'm very excited to be back. But I knew that it wasn't supposed to happen that way. As a performer, that was a really big win for me. I see it the same way as going to Broadway. I've literally applied for NFL teams. Like, I applied for the NFL Gold Rush. I applied for the Golden State Warriors. Like, I think auditioning, and maybe people who aren't performers, maybe if you're a performer, you get it. But as a performer, I think it's good to just put yourself out of your comfort zone and to aim high when it comes to trying your hand at different things, even if you're not 100% sure how everything's going to go. And in the end, I made the call, I don't think this is the right choice. And it was tough. It was tough. I felt hesitation because I knew that it would come at a cost. And I think that's like low-key, this is so real. Like, let's talk opportunity costs. Like, let me teach you a little bit of economics, but also some life-onomics, you know? Opportunity cost is when you have two really enticing choices side by side. Opportunity cost is even if you pick one, the loss of the other is gonna be huge. That is a concept that I have come to know in my adult life about making choices. And for me, I could have made the choice to go and move my entire life to Japan, and which, like, believe me, like, me and my husband Kendrick, we were talking about it. We're like, well, what would it look like? What would it be? But when it comes to opportunity cost, I think it's important to remember that both choices are good choices. And realizing that regardless of what happens, I know that I'm going to make the right choice. And I chose to say, thank you, but no thank you. And now I feel at peace with it. If anything, I'm sharing it now because I feel like I finally feel like that was the right choice. And there's a lot of good stuff happening in my life right now, which hopefully I will be sharing more and more with you, because I've just been a busy little bee when my face isn't in front of a camera. When my face isn't in front of this camera, it's in front of other cameras, okay? So it's definitely been busy for me, but I'm still like so proud of myself. Like, wow, I'm giving myself a lot of great stories to tell when I'm 80. But nonetheless, I hope that you guys all are inspired by this in some way, that you all go for your goals and your dreams. And for those of you who are interested, and that's another reason why I wanted to make this video, I want to show you that these kinds of things are possible. The representation is there. The reason why I'm sharing this is the same reason why I post all of those Black girl promotion in Japan videos, is because it's literally so important to know that these kinds of things are possible for you. And of course, my channel is for everyone, but as a Black woman, as a person of African descent, my goal in life is to inspire everyone, but especially people of African descent. So if you are Black adjacent or a person of color, I hope that you feel seen by the stories that I share, and I hope that you join the YouTube fam if this is your cup of tea, because my tea is prime. If your tea this was not planned. My tea is prime. If I am your can of prime, then go ahead and subscribe. If you are a singer, keep singing. If you are a dancer, keep dancing. And if you are a creative, keep creating. Yes, go for it. やっしょう。みんなが何でもできると信じてます。みんなこれからも頑張ってください。That is my Japanese encouragement to you. So with that said, if you like this video, please like, and if you want to see more, then go ahead and subscribe and become part of the YouTube fam. I hope you have a great day or a great night, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.